pleasant day to you, our viewers, and welcome to the morning programs, the Dailies on Eco Television Africa, where we look at various stories trending on our Nigerian newspaper and a little touch of sport and also the international papers. I am Sele Elisha Dasham, and with me is Owolabi Tosin.
Good morning, Sele.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Hope you rested well.
Yes, I did.
Okay, we have quite a number of stories that are on our papers, and I would like us to start with the first, which is the National Star.
Yes, and on the National Star, still on 2023, APC denies alleged 6.5 trillion naira election rigging budget. And Bauchi police arrest 3 suspects for plucking 16-year-old boy's eyes. Imo Police Command parades suspected killer of Ahmed Gulak. And we know Ahmed Gulak, who was a former political advisor to the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He was murdered on the 30th of May 2021 along Imo State Airport Road. And we see that the suspected killers of Ahmed Gulak are being paraded in Imo Police Command, and we just say, just as we've been advocating for justice, we just hope that justice will be served to these people. On Osun governorship poll, Governor Diri chairs 128-member PDP campaign council in preparation for the Osun governorship election, which will take place on the 16th of July 2022. The big story on the National Star, NBA asks the AG-CGN Ariwola to reform the judiciary, says ex-CGN Mohammed resignation linked to petition against him. His decision to leave commendable. This is coming from Atiku, and Buhari confers JCON on ex-CGN. And we know that yesterday the new Chief Justice of Nigeria was sworn in, who is Kayode Ariwola, and now he's been asked to reform the judiciary system. We know just last week he had where the justices were complaining, even protesting for their poor welfare, and also different things that they need the government to look into. And part of the things, the issues that they've raised to be addressed are some justices sworn in the court since 2 years back were yet to receive their due residential accommodations from the court, and also the vehicles supplied to the justices were said to be substandard. Again, the deteriorating health care of the Supreme Court staff clinic, which has become mere consulting clinic where drugs are not available to treat minor ailments. They also have the issue of the erratic power supply at the court and inadequate legal research assistance for the justices. And we see that all the things that these justices are complaining about are still issues we are still facing even in our country. Aside the judiciary system that need all these things for the justices to have for everything they will do to be smooth. You see, they talk about the erratic power supply, and even Nigerians are lamenting about erratic power supply. They talk about their healthcare system where there are no drugs any longer to treat only the drugs for minor ailments. They don't have, it has turned to a consulting place where they just go see doctor and they administer drugs and they have to go out to buy. And we see such things happening even in our public hospitals. You see that our healthcare system, and people prefer to go to the private hospitals, and we know when you go to the private hospital, money is being given because you know the amount you pay compared to that of the public hospital. So we see all these things coming up, and those justices are lamenting. You see that their health care, their welfare are not looked into, accommodations are not looked into for the Supreme Justices, and we just hope that the new CJN will look into all these things. That's Justice Kayode Ariwola, and we wish him all the best in this mantle of leadership he has taken. We know that the former CJN, that's Tanko Mohammed, he resigned as a result of, like, on the ground of ill health and other things. But we saw that just within 24 hours of his resignation, he was given the second highest award of the country, that's the GCON. The president gave him the award for the GCON, but we'll just look into if there are anything he has done. If there's any cockroach in his cupboard, we know that EFCC are good for that. They will start going after him and even looking into his past record. We just need everything to be done well because our justices are still lamenting. We saw yesterday where Malcolm, that's the Supreme Court
human rights,
human rights justice, who he's known now to be wearing his traditional attire. He said he sued CJN Tanko for some things he have done, and we just hope that they do the right thing, because if we talk about justice and equity, it's supposed to start from the judiciary system. And we should not see corruption starting in our judiciary system. Because if corruption is starting from there, it goes down. And we're looking out for ways we can wipe out corruption from our system, from our country. Then we need to look into our judiciary system and see that they are free from all those corruption allegations.
True.
Still on the National Star, Nigerians connected mobile lines hit 301.5 million. And details can be found in page 7. On alleged organ harvesting, Ekweremadu sues NIMSI and NIS. Details can be found in page 10, and we have a picture story here. We can see President Muhammadu Buhari swears in the Justice Olukayode Ariola as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria at the Presidential Villa Abuja on Monday. And that's all on the National Star newspaper.
Let's take a look at the Blueprint newspaper. CDS Irabo to Matawadi. You have no powers, asking citizens to bear arms, with the writer urges Zamfara government to seek the AGF Madam's interpretation on the laws. And we have a little story down here that said the Chief of the Defense Staff General Lucky Irabo had said that the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Madami's son, has the duty to tell Nigerians if Zamfara State Governor Mohammed Bello Matawadi has the right to ask citizens to bear arms. He said only the Commander-in-Chief has the constitutional powers to give directive to the armed forces as an instrument of policy implementation. The defense chief spoke Monday against the backdrop of the order by the Zamfara state government asking residents to apply for arms license in view of the rising insecurity concern in the state. The state government also ordered the Commissioner of Police to issue arms license to any willing and qualified resident that apply. Irabo said he's wrong, faulting the governor's position while speaking at the opening of a joint exercise for the National Defense College and War Colleges of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. And we'll carry continuation of that story on page 6. And Tosi, remember, it was, I think, during the weekend where the governor of Zamfara said as a result of the increase of insecurity in the state, for residents that are willing to take arms should go register and take arms. But I would say that that won't be the right way forward, because if you're going to actually check, not everybody is mentally stable to actually take arms, and taking arms will result into even turning against your fellow brother or your fellow sister as a result of anger, because we know this is not just something that anybody can take. And I think the CDS is actually right that we need an interpretation of the law, because yes, we know that the increase of insecurity has really put fear in the hearts of residents, not just in Zamfara but also in Nigeria as a whole, because this insecurity has spread to various parts of the country. And definitely, I think there was a time where we spoke about this together on Dailies, where we said that it is the work of the security, not the work of residents, to hold arms. But I think rather than going for this, I think the way forward should be that we should, I think the better way forward would be for the state policing, because we have places where we have their motorcycles at them on do and other parts. And I think this should be a step where the government should see how can we say go ahead with the state policing. And it's one thing to have the state policing, it's another thing to fund them. So I think rather than going for the arms, citizens should take arms. I think the way forward should be that we should have more state policing, funds should be given to them, whatever arms that they need should be given to them, so I will be able to secure our environment rather than telling residents to go ahead and license for arms.
Yes, Sele, in as much as we're in their need to curb this issue of insecurity, we need to be careful with the methods we are trying to pick up or method we are trying to adopt for curbing insecurity in our different states. Just what the governor said about people owning arms to fight insecurity. I would like to say we have the security outfit in our country. We have people that are having the sole function of looking out for security, for lives and properties. We have our police, but we have different problems that these police are going through. One is that they are understaffed. They don't have the adequate workforce for fighting this issue of insecurity. And secondly, again, they don't have the necessary equipment they need to fight insecurity. Like when we spoke about the Owo killing, and when the chief was spoken to, that's the traditional ruler in Owo, he said they have the security, they have police around them, but this police, they don't have weapons. You can imagine a policeman without a weapon, or imagine a military man without a weapon. So you see that these people, they are understaffed, one, and they don't have the weapon again to even look out for ways they can curb insecurity. And again, we need to pass this bill of state policing, just as you said. We see what Amotekun is doing even in Owo, and right, we see that they've arrested some suspects linked to the killing of people even in the church attack and different mayhem that people have caused. They've caught some suspects in Owo. We look at ways we can adopt this motion, pass this bill for the state policing. We keep on saying that these people work hand in hand with our various security operative in looking out in the different nooks and crannies of the state. We see where Governor Matawale is saying Niger State is become a hideout, a safe haven for terrorist group. Let them look into other military sectors that they can have in the state that will work hand in hand with the police and even in the military, because presently the president have ordered that troops of military men should be released in Niger State for this issue of what the governor is saying, that people should look out for ways they can own arms. And we know that it has its negative consequence. Just as you said, it will become like they'll be power drunk and even feel like, okay, I have weapons so I can go against anybody. And don't look at that. The first instance was that this weapon in your possession should be used to attack the terrorist group. It can now become a time where you start fighting one another. A little offense, you resort to shoot this person. Don't know that it's supposed to be used for self-defense against this terrorist group. So we need to look into ways our security operative will do something. And even the state governors, even in these states that are affected, will have a state policing amongst themselves. Look out for ways they can get people, recruit people, and train them in the right way. And if it is approved, then they can give these people weapons so that they can work with this military to curb this insecurity. And not just Niger State. We see where Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State is even looking into this issue, because he said he's going to face this terrorist with the whole, with all he have with his capacity. He will fight this issue of insecurity, because we see that Imo State have become another den, and we see that of Anambra State also. So we see that all the states are affected. Even the FCT is affected with issue of insecurity, and we just hope that something will be done looking at ways state policing can be adopted. And even as security operative, they need the weapons they need to fight insecurity, and more trainings, because they should not just be relaxed with the old ways they are used to fighting insecurity. Because when we see amateur videos of these people, we see they come out with sophisticated weapons. They are prepared to fight these people. Then imagine someone coming up with just a baton to fight these people. So we need to look out for ways we can equip our security outfits and also train them on ways they can fight all this terrorist group, so that we can curb this issue of insecurity. Because looking out for ways you can own possession of gun is not just the right thing, because when it gets out of hand, we cannot curb it amongst people that are in possession of weapons.
True. So I believe that the governor of Zamfara have actually taken note, and that we'll actually look into the state policing and various routes, because we know it's the rainy season. They'll be moving from one place to another. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed, and we'll bring our viewers with an update on whatever happened. The big story on the Blueprint paper, we have the NBA urges the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ariwale, on reform. Tanko bows out, with the rider lawyers pledge support to clean mess in the system. Bear true allegiance, Buhari tells the Supreme Court Justice. And TMG hails the ex-Chief Justice of Nigerian's courage, seek restructuring. And we are having Asiye kindred term of Buhari facilitate with Ariwale, and detail of that can be found on page 6. Other stories still on Blueprint. PDP threatens to expose OBJ over comments on Atiku, with the rider seek reconciliation with Wike. And on 2023, APC denies raising 6.5 trillion naira to bribe voters, INEC and others. Well, we hope that the people involved in that will actually check detail into that, because we've spoken about how independent INEC is, and we've had cases where we see that INEC officials are collecting money before they actually register or even give slip or PVC to residents. So we hope that the agency involved with that will really check. EFCC will check into things like this to be sure that there is nothing fishy going on in INEC, because we cannot afford where INEC is being manipulated by any agency or any party of any form. At the end of the day, we see something that we do not want. So we hope that more will be done to check into the 6.5 trillion naira bribe. Still on page 7 of the blueprint, we have do something before Nigeria end up as failed state. The SMBLF tells the federal government. And 22 die in Castina. IDP camp over starvation and hardship. I spoke about this last week on today's slide, where we say most time we are more concerned about the insecurity, and we do not look at the aftermath of this, because at the end of the day we have people that are being left. At the end of the day, they can't go back to their farms, they can't go back to their houses, and it's expected that the IDP that is supposed to be a safe haven for them, where their health should be looked after, their feeding should be looked after, the environment, everything about them should be looked after. But we can say about 22 died, and you begin to ask questions: what happened to all the money that is being funded into the IDPs? What happened to their health? What happened to their feeding? If 22 are dying of starvation and hardship, then we know that the government really needs to also put their focus on the IDP, because we've had cases where apart from starvation we have a situation where apart from starvation, some of them die out of health, some of them are being molested, some of them are being raped. We had a case earlier this year in January where a 14-year or 15-year-old girl was raped and locked in a house, and out of the trauma she stabbed herself to death. So you see, issues like these are coming up, and then I think we're turning a blind eye. We do not really look into that. So I believe that in as much as we're crying out for insecurity, we're crying out on reform of our various sectors, I think the government, the agency involved should check into the IDPs. They have nowhere, they have nobody else to turn to. Money is being funded into that place, but yet we'll see that the money do not even get to them over there, and at the end of the day we can see them dying of food that they need. It's not there. So I just hope that the government will look into it, not just to leave it to Castina, because this is just an eye-opener. We're having 22 dying in Castina. Then you can imagine, what about those in Abuja? What about those in Plateau? What about those in Kaduna? We have many other states that we're having IDPs. So I believe that the government should actually turn their focus and also look into the welfare of those people.
Sele, looking into the welfare of these people, these internally displaced persons, is very important, because there was a time where these people protested and said it's better off they allow them to go back to their communities, in which we know that the communities are not even safe presently. They said they prefer to die in their community than come to places like this, where it's supposed to be a safe haven for them, and they die out of starvation and even the kind of things they go through even in those camps. There was a time even in our community here, I saw where these people came out they just spread across even in our areas. They were knocking at doors and saying, even if it's washing of clothes, you should give them. They wash, then at the end of the day you pay them. That the IDPs, they don't receive anything. And just as we said, money is being allocated to these people. We have money coming from foreign aids on how they can help these people to in the camps where they are. Definitely right from the onset, when the initiation of having this IDP was that even these people, when these people are in this camp, they'll be able to go to school. That's for their children. They'll be able to go to school. The women and the men will be enrolled in skill acquisitions to help them take care of themselves and even take care of their families. But do we see all these things coming to pass even in these IDPs? Nothing is being done. These people are just left alone in this camp. Money is not being given to them. Food is not being given to them. We see now for the political stunts now, we see that they go there now, all these politicians, they can go there and just share little things among these people that cannot even last them for a day. So we look at the welfare of these people. Government need to do something about it, because money is allocated to these even in our budget, we see money that is allocated for those in this camp, the internally displaced persons. So what is this money going to? We talk about corruption, and we see corruption in display, like in display for these people. We need to talk about these things. The government need to do something about these things, because these people are human beings. We see people dying as a result of starvation, as a result of ill health, as a result of hunger, because we keep on talking about that terrorism is killing people, and even hunger is killing faster. So we need to do something about this. Government need to do something about it. And this also goes back to individuals. We see where individuals go there to even donate little things to these people. It's really good. We need to support these people. Then the government need to do something about it. If you can't fund these people, if you can't support them, then the money that foreign aids are given to support these people, give it to these people so they can use it to help themselves, they can use it to help their family, and even the children among them can go to school because they have a life to live. Aside this camp that they are staying, they have life to live. We see our future president among these people, we see our future first ladies among these people, but when you deny them this right, because Nigerians now are being deprived of their rights, and we see that these people in these camps are deprived of their rights, the right thing needs to be done. And we just hope that the foreign nations who are funding all this camp or funding all these people, we hear all these things are happening, then they can ask this thing. Because when money is being given to these people, what is it being used for? We see where people siphon this money for their personal reasons. Something needs to be done about this thing, and these people who have lost their life even in this camp.
True to see. Where other stories still on the blueprint, let me quickly round up this paper. Federal government to enforce 10 naira per litre sugar tax to hike carbonated drinks prices. And we see fuel shortage, inflation to cripple the economic growth. This is coming from the World Bank, and you can read that on page 22. A multi-choice admit facing liquidity constraint in Nigeria. The last story I'll be taking says local investors lending to federal government rises to 4.2 trillion naira in the H1 2022. And that's all on the Blueprint newspaper.
And on First News, we have on 2023 polls, no 6.5 trillion naira slush fund anywhere to buy votes. And this is coming from the APC, says humongous budget in leaked election document, figment of PDP's imagination. And I'll say there's no smoke without fire. We saw the Ekiti election where the new trend was vote buying, and we saw where EFCC arrested some people for vote buying, where they sold their votes for some amount of money. And we even saw videos where people displayed the money they received from all these aspirants. So we need to look into all these things. Imagine this money, 6.5 trillion naira, that is being kept for vote buyers. So we need to look into all these things. And as much as we keep on saying everybody have the right to go out and vote, nobody should sell his or her vote, because if we need to change the system, it begins from you and I. We need investigations, more investigation on this money which is being kept for vote buying. Obasanjo's mistake comment on Atiku troubles PDP as party threatens to expose ex-president. Still on 2023, neither Atiku nor Tinubu can fix Nigeria's problem. This is coming from Northern Elders. Says PDP, APC presidential hopefuls will throw Nigeria into chaos. Endorse Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, and Vice President Oshibanjo. Acting CJN opens up on corruption allegation against Tanko, says there were issues to be resolved among justices. We've started resolving them. NBA react to Tanko's resignation, demand urgent reform in judiciary. Fresh CVR registrant hit 10.4 million. This is coming from INEC. Matawali lacks power to direct Zamfara residents to carry gun, and this is from General Irabo. While Tinubu jets out to France amid running mate controversy. Ekweremadu drags Nimsi immigration to court, prays judge to order release of kidney donors' biodata. APC's defection gale continues as another senator dumps party. And suspect of Ahmed Gulak, killers of Ahmed Gulak said, we killed Gulak for resisting our orders. This is coming from the suspects. And bandits abduct DPO traveling to report at news station in Kaduna. The last story on the First News says WAFCON 2022, Super Falcons land in Morocco, push for 10 title, and that's all on the First newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Daily Sun newspaper. Insecurity worsening under your watch. Southerners and Middle Belt Leaders Forum tells Buhari, with the rider wants speedy resolution to ASU strike. Knocks INEC on untidy PVC registration. And detail of that can be found on page 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And in 2023, APC denies budgeting 6.5 trillion naira to compromise INEC and buy votes, with detail on page 27. The big story, untold story of the Chief Justice of Nigerian resignation, with the rider Justice Ariwale takes over, pledges not to disappoint. Don't make Nigerians lose confidence in you, Buhari warns the judiciary. And reform judiciary now, the NBA tells the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. And I hope truly there will be a reform in the judiciary, because just like you stated earlier, once there's corruption in that sector, then definitely you can tell that every other part would actually be corrupted. So I believe that nobody is above the law. While we're still looking into investigation concerning the resignation of Tanko, we believe that it will be an eye-opener to every other sector for them to know that regardless of who you are, not because you have an immunity that you feel that you cannot be interrogated. Interrogation needs to be taken. We need to be responsible, and also to audit every money that was being sent to that sector, because it's very important we know what you do with that money. And at the end of the day, I mean, that will bring about clarity, that will bring about justice and also fairness in that sector. Other stories still on Daily Sun. Comment on Atiku. PDP Board of Trustee Chair the tackle Obasanjo threatened to expose the ex-president. Says Atiku as the vice president saved Nigeria from the third term agenda crisis. Well, you can read detail of that on page 28. And we have the last story I'll take on this paper on Oshuguba. Bayelsa governor heads PDP 128 member campaign council, with detail of that on page 3. And that's all on the Daily Sun newspaper.
On the Guardian newspaper, General Irabo is saying you don't have such powers. Irabo faults Matawale or arms bearing. PDP threatens to expose Obasanjo over a mistake comment on Atiku. And amid rift, Mohammed bows out. Ariwola becomes the CJN. Buhari swears in Ariwola as the acting CJN, confers GCON on Mohammed. Wants judiciary against losing confidence of Nigerians. I will not fail Nigerians, Ariwola assures. Access to justice hails CJN's resignation. And NBA links CJN's resignation to rumbling in Supreme Court. Resignation not enough. EFCC should arrest him. This is coming from Huriwa. First tax before Ariola is to bring experienced private practitioners to Supreme Court after Chief Aliu, that is an SAN. Tinubu jets off to France as APC refutes alleged 6.5 trillion naira budget for flag bearer. And fresh fare hike looms over stranded $6 million airlines fund. Probe graft charges against military contractors, officials, Sislak tells Buhari. And again, IPOB declares sit at home today in Southeast. That's all on the Guardian newspaper.
Let's take a look at this day newspaper. Emefiele, the Nigerians' forex policy targeted at preserving naira value and others, with the rider following that non-convertibility of currency post challenge for the FX management, says the WAIFEMDG. And on 2023, INEC chairman assures United Nations of credible polls, with detail on page 2. And the SMBLF demands inclusion of state police in Nigeria's internal security architecture. Detail also can be found on page 6. And we have Ariwola emerges acting Chief Justice of Nigeria after Mohammed is forced out. Don't let Nigerians lose confidence in judiciary, Buhari wants the Supreme Court justice. And the NBA link resignation to foster relation with colleagues. Atiku comment, ex-Chief Justice Makinde congratulates successor, with detail on page 10. And the big story here, the first Inland Revenue Service to secure a subsidy gobs NNPC revenue, with the rider revenue generating agency now contributes over 60% to the FAAC. Cash strip Nigeria again loses $650.7 million crude to force module equipment failure and others. We have a chart here where we can see the first Inland Revenue Saving contribution to distribution at the Federation Account Allocation Committee, and we can see from January to December of 2021. So you can get the This Day newspaper and read detail of that. You can also check more about the Chief Justice of Nigeria on page 22, and that's all on This Day newspaper. But before we move further, I'd like us to take a time out where we can open the phone lines for our callers, and they can call or let us know what your views are concerning the new Chief Justice of Nigeria, the money concerning the bribe for vote buying, and also on insecurity, what Matawali say concerning, his resident can actually take arms. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. It's still the Dailies on Echo Television Africa. If you're just joining us, I'm Sela Elisha Dasham, and I've been doing this with Owolabi Tosin.
Thank you, Sela.
Yes, we're live on Facebook, and also you can drop your comment, and also remember to call us because our phone lines are displayed on your screen. Please, when you call us, move away from your TV set, and also remember they have just 30 seconds to make your contribution. Tosi, let's move to other papers.
Yes, on the Daily Independent, Catholic communicators raised the alarm over incessant killing of priest. Condemn attack on churches, says self-defense is inevitable. Southern Middle Belt leaders decry rising insecurity, ask federal government to act fast. House Supreme Court justices forced CJN Mohammed out of office. Buhari swears in Ariola as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Confers National Award on ex-CJN Tanko Mohammed. New CJN denies division among justices of Supreme Court. And NBA asks acting CJN to rebuild confidence in the judiciary. Lawyers urges EFCC to arrest, investigate Justice Mohammed. And Nigeria edging closer to winning war against drug abuse. This is coming from Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo. Will strengthen SEC to reposition Nigeria's capital market. And this is from the federal government, with details in page 28 of the Daily Independent. Chief of Defense Staff faults Zamfara governor over gun for residents.
Sorry, Tosi, we have a caller. Hello, Joseph from Enugu. Good morning. Please go on with your contribution.
Hello.
We can hear you. Please go on with your contribution.
Thank you so much. I'm okay. I want to comment that I'm very much
Yeah, I think the network is bad. I'd love you to call us back quite later. Thank you.
Still on the Daily Independent, Chief of Defense Staff faults Zamfara governor over gun for residents. Akeredolu supports Matawali on guns for residents and state police, with details in page 29. And Nigerians' aviation industry may face bleak future. This is coming from Nanta. Tax CBN Ministry of Foreign Airlines $500 million trapped funds. Police parade suspected killer of Ahmed Gulak. Details can be found in page 8, and the picture story here we can see the President Muhammadu Buhari and also the new CJN.
Hello, Joseph. Good morning. Please go on.
Thank you very much. I was thinking that with the army responding to the assassination governor, or the people to, as they have put to work to defend themselves. But I'm surprised. You can see all the killing every day. It is no more news in Nigeria about killing. But the army is not taking. Now, they do to defend themselves, and the army also came out to say that it is wrong or that the government is not right. So it's true that somebody has to do the work. Or do they expect us to do? Or it's illegal for Fulani men to be carried attacking villagers. That is just
yeah, I think it's quite breaking again, but I think I got your point concerning what the governor of Zamfara is saying. But just like we've said, taking the arms is not the way forward, but the state policing, we feel, is much better because they are more enlightened about how to go about security issues and also how to handle the arms.
Yes, because we need to look at the aftermath effect. It's not all about the now. We need to look at the future, because when these things get out of hand, if people go about owning arms, when it gets out of hand, we cannot curb it again. It will escalate and become something to Nigeria. We have.
Hello, IK. Good morning. Go on.
In the issue of PDP. PDP does not have right to be threatening Obasanjo because Obasanjo know what he's saying. So that is my contribution. PDP does not have right to be threatening Obasanjo. Obasanjo know what he's saying. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Ike. I believe that's an internal issue for the PDP. So we hope that they will actually handle their internal issue and not allow it to affect our 2023 election. Whatever grievances they are having in the party, they should settle whatever issue they have there, because I think the citizens are after the 2023 election, not the internal party.
Yes, Sele, that's all on Daily Independence.
Well, let's take a look at the Voice of Liberty. And on 2023 elections, we won't interfere in Nigerians' democratic choice, INEC chairman tells the UN. And Matawali lacks the power to order Zamfara residents to buy guns. This is coming from the CDS Irabo. Hello, Praise. Good morning. Please move away from your TV set.
Hello, Praise. Good morning.
How are you, my dear?
Fine, thank you so much. Please go on.
How are you, Sele? You are doing very well. I commend you for all these thought-provoking national issues. The CGN is a hero. He's a hero. It's always good to finish strong and finish well. When you know that this matter is out of hand, that is what distinguishes the white from us. When the matter is getting out of hand, and they know that they cannot have any answer, the best thing is to throw in the towel. That's what he has done. It's my hero. I'll write him down in my diary as one of Nigeria's greatest leaders. So nobody has voluntarily retired from such kind of plum position like the decision of this country. So I commend him, and I ask other leaders to emulate him. When you know you cannot do this thing, and you know you have exhausted all that you can offer, why not leave it? Well, because so that another thing you have a new lawyer, come first, so that you can solve the problem. I commend him and I thank you for all you are doing in Jesus' name.
Man, thank you so much.
I would like to talk about CJN's retirement. He did not retire based on issues getting out of hand for him. He retired based on saying on health issues, and now we see where justices are saying EFCC should go after him because there are some things he has done. So we can't applaud it generally, but we just need EFCC to go after him. If he's seen free of any corruption allegation, if he's declared free of anything, then we can applaud him. But definitely it was on health ground. There were still issues. There have been issues even in the justice. He did in the justice system, and he did not resign voluntarily.
Hello, Emeka. Good morning. Emeka, are you there? Please move away from your TV set.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning. Okay, thank you very much. Hello. Hello.
We can hear you. Please go on.
I want to talk about. Okay, I'm out from the television.
I think we're having issue connecting to you. If you can call us back again, please, when you do, move away from your TV set. I remember you have just 30 seconds to make your contribution. And Tosi, you're talking about whether we to applaud the CGN, the former CGN or not. But just like you said, he resigned based on health, number one. Secondly, he's having pending issues with the Nigerian Bar Association because there are issues whereby they say funds have been disbursed and he did not send it down to them. We already, just like you rightly said, that we had cases where the human rights justice Malcolm came out to say that he has written a letter and he's expecting that the former CGN should come out and answer to some requests because they need him to bring out some invoices, bank statement of money that was being said to be disbursed to that sector, and yet they have not gotten it because we have issue of their health, welfare and other things. So we just keep our fingers crossed. Whatever issue is, we're seeing here the new Chief Justice is saying he's going to restructure and also reform it and also look into the pending issues. But I believe that for the next less than 1 year that he has, because we believe that whoever is going to be the new president of Nigeria might actually change it. So we should see what is he able to achieve in this short period of time that has been given to him. What is he able to do, whether the new administration will come will say they want to go with him or not. But we'll just wait to see, regardless of what the past Chief Justice have done. We want to see what this new Chief Justice have in store for us in Nigeria.
So when he's declared free, then is when we can applaud him for job well done.
True. I think other stories still on the Voice of Liberty, on insecurity, terror group Ashiro bans the political activists in Kaduna town. And we have President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday sworn in Justice Ariwale as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria in an acting capacity following the April resignation of Justice Tanko Mohammed from the judicial position. And on self-defense call, okay, hello, Michael from Cameroon. Please go on with your contribution. Okay, Michael, I would love if you call us, but I would love to hear what you have for us this morning. And still on self-defense called Zamfara government directive means we have no government in Nigeria anymore. This is coming from the Middle Belt Forum and they are lamenting. Surrender within 10 days or risk bombardment. This is coming from Hope Ozodima warning the bandits. Hello, Gochuku. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go on.
All right. I want to speak on some topical issue this morning.
Okay.
One of them is the issue of PVC registration. I don't know why it is in the news that in the south, in the whole southern part of this country, that there are youth or people are struggling to register their PVC for their PVC. I have not had such news in the north. Is it a grand plan to differentiate populations of the south? I believe we are going to rise against this politely. I believe INEC, they are listening to this program and they will do something about that. Secondly, the issue of the state governor calling for arms, it is not advisable. If there is proliferation of light weapon and small arms, it will eventually endanger the state after now, because that will infiltrate armed struggle and in the nearby states. On the other hand, I want to remind you guys: have we forgotten about the ASO strike? Are we now talking politics and forget about ASO strike? Students are still at home, and they are the tools to be used for anything in the hands of these politicians. Let's keep disturbing them, and even the fight and the protest that the students have been carrying. I think they're not doing it again. Please, I still want to wish that the students should come back to the main road and block the highways, and that would help. And on the other hand, the PDP should not blame Obasanjo. Obasanjo knows his vice better than every other person. It is because of selfish interest that most politicians don't speak the truth. And
we actually get you. Sorry, you have to stop the seconds.
He will live up to 100 years again. It is better he does a service. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that contribution. And I think the key point I actually got from everything, even though he said so many other things, is the fact that we're forgotten about ASU. But I'll say that it's not the way forward for us to block the highway, because we've had issues where, as a result of that, hoodlum have hijacked such protests, and at the end of the day, the students are the one. In as much as we want them to get back to the classroom, we've been pleading. I think on this show, we've spoken about this over and over, the fact that ASU really, really need to do something. And it was on the paper last week that it said, the government said that very soon they will call off this strike. So we are hoping that they will truly call off this strike. I think, let me round up the paper I have. The last story I'll be taking here say on 2023 presidency, neither Atiku nor Tinubu can fix Nigeria. This is coming from Ango Abdullahi. And we have, hello Emmanuel, you're our last caller for today.
Good morning.
Morning, go on please, you have 30 seconds.
God bless you, my sister. I don't want to go much. Mr. Obasanjo is coming up his own opinion. It's not that it's bad, actually. But the truth of the whole thing is that, is it because this man is going for presidency, this topic is coming out? All the crises we are facing in Nigeria, they never said Mr. President. But when they want to campaign now, the same people inside APC, the same people inside PDP, we use that the same crisis to campaign. But when you are with him, why not solve that problem with him before coming out to become our president again? This is just my question for them.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I hope they actually got that question rightly, Tosin. But before I round up the show, Tosin, any word for our viewers over there?
I would like to see that students now have narrowed their attention in getting their PVC, because you need to see the long queue. Students are going out to get their PVC, to use that to bring in the right credible leader. We've spoken about ASU, we've spoken about how it's very important for students to go back to school, and we see that they are now going out to get their PVC. Now we see the youth are taking the mantle in their hands of coming out on the day of election to vote for the right person that will move our country forward, and also look out for when we won't have issues where students will have the back and forth going on strike as a result of the collapse in our educational system. So we're not quiet about talking about ASU, but we applaud what students are doing in going out to get their PVCs.
Thank you, Tosa. I think I have a comment on Facebook or two. We have one coming from Sati Jacob. He said hi also to you, Jacob. And we have Sonny. He said get your PVC, and it's very important. Go get your PVC, because it's not just your right, but your responsibility as a citizen. And also Sonny added and said Nigerians youth is the problem of this country. Well, if you don't want to be part of the problem of this country, you know what to do. They are not just two parties. You can also register and be an active member of any political party and make the change of the narrative we all want to see. Until we come your way again tomorrow, stay tuned for Nigeria Now by 10.